Thank you, first of all, for everybody taking time out of your busy schedule and coming here tonight. Our presenters, I am forever grateful for your support, for the work we do here, and for our students.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Susan Clough, and I started Susie Specialties during the pandemic. It's been a whirlwind since then. I was actually cleaning out some things and came across some family recipes from my parents owned a restaurant, and when we sold it, we moved in a hurry, and we weren't really good recipe keepers. We had a lot of it in our head, and then we had some that were written on cardboard boxes where you just pulled the cardboard off, or a napkin. And my dad had some, I had some, and I had them in an old thick phone book in the bottom of my pantry, and I was going to clean that out and pitch the phone book because I didn't need a phone book anymore. And inside of there was a Ziploc bag of some of the recipes that I had been searching for almost 20 years. So I don't know, it never ever dawned on me to cook from home or go back into the food business because I did it for 30 years, and by the time we sold it I was so burnt out that I never would have ever thought. But just something hit me one day, and I read an article about a lady that lost her job during the pandemic, and she never thought about taking a different path, and she actually had found some of her grandma's candy recipes. She opened a candy store in Indiana, and it took off, and she's doing great and happy. And so I want to do something with the rest of my life that made me happy. Being in the kitchen made me happy, comfortable. I liked cooking for my family. My family liked to eat my cooking. But it's been great, and I really do enjoy it. I like creating some of the recipes. Some of the items out here are new, but I kind of take them from other recipes that we had at the restaurant. So, and it's made my dad very happy. Still have my dad. So, and I cooked with my grandmother a lot. She would push a little stool up to the stove, and she would let me make the cornbread and fry the cornbread cakes. And I thought I was big stuff, so canned with her, gardened with her, same with my parents, so it's kind of a family thing.
Thank you. We'll start tonight off with Don Skaggs.
Hi everybody, I'm Don Skaggs. I run a nonprofit called the Inventors Network Kentucky, and I also have a company called Empowered Inventing, empoweredinventing.com. A little bit about me, just kind of a serial inventor, entrepreneur, bootstrapped a company out of a farmhouse of all places in eastern Kentucky. We ended up making specialty products for the pathology laboratory industry, and didn't stay in the farmhouse long, grew it into a factory with employees, grew it 23 years, had an exit in 2014, sold the company to another one out in Texas. And then I found a passion really for helping inventors and entrepreneurs with getting started up with a startup, be it a small business, some small family businesses, and I do that again through the Inventors Network Kentucky and through empoweredinventing.com. But I want to be here to talk to you today about 5 essentials. I want to talk to you about 5 different things. And working with inventors and entrepreneurs over the last decade or two, I've learned a lot of common threads. It doesn't matter what your idea is. And by the way, when I say inventor, I have a very broad view of what an inventor really is. If you've got an idea for a business, if you've got an idea for some type of innovation, I have what I call an inventor. Actually, her company is called Creatively Invented, and she creates children's books, makes and sells children's books. And she's just as much as inventor as the guy tinkering in his garage. So I want to talk to you, and also have a online classes called Empowered Inventing Academy, and I'm trying to get to the right slide. There we go. Now, what I want to talk to you about today is 5 things. And these are the 5 things that I really find that are very, very important. Now, 2 of them, first 2, are what I call cautionary tales. things that if you were heading down the road and I was in front of a bridge that was out, I'm jumping up and down and waving my arms trying to tell you, stop, don't do this, this is going to get you hurt. So 2 of those, and then 3 things that are very, very important that I'll get to in the end. First thing I want you to think about is, what kind of inventor are you? Are you a toss the keys inventor? Do you just want to toss oh, I got a great idea, it's on a napkin sketch. I'm just going to toss it to somebody else and send them a bunch of money and they're going to make me rich. Don't do that. That is a really, really, really bad way to go. They have TV commercials they spend thousands, millions of dollars on that will send you in the wrong direction if you're not careful. No one is going to care more about your invention other than you. Now, another person is the one that's trying to do it all themselves. And that's also a pitfall. So somewhere between those 2 extremes is really, really where you want to be. Because what you can do yourself will only take you so far. So think about what inventor that you have, that you are, and don't be this guy right here on a hamster wheel just going around and around and around and around. Now, what we call is, and you can see these on our website, they're called idea steps. They're step-by-step. It's a method to get from your initial idea to an actual product in the marketplace. We always say we try to help you help other people by taking your great idea, the right opportunity, mixing that with sound wisdom so you can turn them into real things like products and businesses. And I won't go through all these because of time, but again, you can get them on our website, empoweredinventing.com. Now, the first thing I want to tell you this, and that is inventing is not get rich quick. Now when I say inventing, again, this could be an idea for a business. You could be an entrepreneur. You wake up that one morning and you got, I just know what this is going to be. But you're not going to show up on Shark Tank and become an instant millionaire in 30 minutes. It just doesn't happen. As a matter of fact, a lot of times I'll say that, you know, Shark Tank and Gilligan's Island are both TV shows. And they really are. It's all about entertainment. If you really want to learn things, don't think that it's going to work out in 30 minutes like a TV show, because it doesn't. There are no real true shortcuts to doing this right and doing it in the right way. I've seen them. I've seen the ones that crash and burn. I've seen the ones that are successful. I want you to think of the difference between good inventing and bad inventing, as good inventing is preparing a very skillfully prepared meal where you have learned how to cook. You've taken your time. You've learned from other people that have good recipes. Maybe you've burned some stuff, and that's okay. You threw it out, you tried again, but finally you got good at it, and you learned how to produce a delicious meal that you shared with a lot of your loved ones. That's good inventing. Bad inventing is a microwave burrito. The bad kind you get in a convenience store. It looks bad when it's sitting crusted over in ice in the back of that convenience store. It smells bad when it's cooking in that nasty microwave, also in the back of the convenience store. It tastes bad when you eat it, but you eat it anyway. Why? Because you're in a hurry and you're not thinking through what you're doing. And just the same way with bad inventing, at the end of it, with both ways, you are sick to your stomach and full of remorse. So there's not a shortcut to doing this. Now, another thing is a patent is not an end-all to inventing. You know, I remember one time I got a patent. I got it in the mail. It's called a notice of allowance. John can tell you all about it. And I got a notice of allowance for a patent in the mail. My wife is at work the next day, and she's just casually talking to her coworkers, and she says, just happens to say, oh yeah, my husband was issued a patent yesterday. And I'll never forget the expressions on their faces that she described to me. She said their mouths dropped open, and they looked at her with this sense of awe, and said something like, well, you're going to be rich. And of course she laughed, and she came home and told me, and I laughed because we both knew the same thing, and that is a patent does not equal instant millionaire. You have to, a patent just gives you a right to sue. Just gives you, it's just a property deed for your idea. What's going to tell is if it really is something in the marketplace. So those are the two bad things that I wanted to warn you about, just to have that little reality check, just think through. But now the next three things, if I have time, I'm good on time. The next three things, if I was just going to leave you with three things, and three things only tonight, it would be these three things. If I wanted you to remember three things that I said, it's these next three things. What three things are important about inventing and entrepreneurship? And the first thing is people. People are important for inventors and entrepreneurs. No successful inventor or entrepreneur ever works in total isolation. But you see, I know a lot of you inventors and entrepreneurs out there, you all are like Tom Hanks in the Castaway movie, except you all don't even have a soccer ball to talk to. And you know, you're just out there and you're working and you're in your garage and you're tinkering and you just, okay, I just want to work on a little more. And sometimes you're like afraid to show it to anybody. You kind of give birth to the idea, if you think about it, and you're afraid, oh, somebody's going to steal this. And honestly, I've never had an idea stolen that wasn't already making money in the marketplace first, by the way. But you see, we want to kind of cradle it in our arms, and we want to treat it like it's a baby. We gave birth to the idea, right? But you see, there's a mistake with that. If you treat your idea like it's a baby, it's going to behave like a baby. And I don't care if it's diapers or college tuition, babies cost money. But the day that you decide that you're no longer going to treat it like a baby, but you're going to treat it like a product, that's the day it's going to begin to behave like a product. And products have the ability to make you money instead of costing you money. So don't hide it away. Be around people. Come to meetings like this. Get involved with an inventors group, get involved with an entrepreneur group, get involved with a lot of the great resources that you'll meet from the people here tonight. Now that's one thing. People are important. The other thing, and this is actually probably vitally important, probably maybe the most important of the three. And it's an old antiquated term, and I hate the fact that it's an antiquated term. I wish it would kind of have a resurgence in our culture. And that word is called wisdom. Wisdom is vitally important for inventors and entrepreneurs. You know, and don't get confused wisdom with knowledge. Knowledge is knowing a lot of facts. I was in a room this morning meeting with engineers, people a lot smarter than I am. But you see, I know there's a difference between wisdom and knowledge. You can have a lot of knowledge, but that's completely different from wisdom. Knowledge will tell you that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom will give you better sense not to put it in a fruit salad. So you've got to know the difference. You learn wisdom two different ways, by making mistakes yourself and by learning from other people who've made mistakes. And how do you do that? Back to the people part. You see, you put three things into an idea for a product or a business. You put your time, you put money, but you put this third thing, this intangible thing called wisdom. But if you haven't acquired the wisdom first, you will likely take that time and that money and pour them down a drain. Why? Because if you don't acquire the wisdom first, you most likely won't know where to put that time and that money, and you'll end up putting it in the wrong places. So wisdom is vitally important for inventors and entrepreneurs. Now, last but not least is diligence. Diligence is very important for inventors and entrepreneurs. Now, diligence can be defined as a careful or persistent work or effort. And it's getting up and doing what you're supposed to do because you're supposed to do it. And we tell our inventors, we teach them, we tell them, we say, you treat your invention or your startup like you make an appointment with it. You make an appointment just like it's an appointment with a doctor or an attorney. You make a promise to yourself on purpose, on paper. You say, okay, on Wednesdays from 6 to 9 p.m., I'm putting down the remote, I'm getting up off the couch, and I am working on my invention. I am working on my business. I am working on my startup. But you see, it's easy to say you're going to do that in a meeting like this. There's people around us, we're all excited, we're enthused, we get to network, And you know, it's even a turkey can fly in a tornado. But I'm talking about that hot day in July or that cold day in February. Well, we got July coming up. Let's say that hot day in July. And you've got home from work and you just feel like you've just been beat up all day at work at that job you really don't like, but you want to do this other thing. And you come home and you're just not feeling it. You're saying, and you suddenly start making excuses for yourself. You say, you know, I tell you what, I'm just going to set this down over here, and I'm going to get back to it next week. I promise. And you set it down and you walk away. And then guess what happens? You know what happens next, right? Next week rolls around, something else comes up. And then the next week, something else happens. And you let minutia and life get in the way. Before you know it, months wheel by. And before you know it, it's November. It's Thanksgiving. After Thanksgiving, if you're anything like me, you're reared back in a recliner full of turkey. And your spouse comes up to you and she says, at least in my case, those three little words you want to hear. Honey, would you? And in my case, it's, would you get up and go out and get the Christmas decorations out? It's time to put them up. So you get up and you go out to that attic, that basement, that garage. And you start sifting through stuff, and there you come across it. There it is. There's that invention. There's that startup idea. There's that business idea that you were so excited about all those months ago. And you pick it up and you look at it. And just for a moment, you have that feeling all over again. And you pick it up and you say, you know, I could do something with this. I could change my life with this. I could change my family's legacy with this. And at that point, you have to make a decision of, am I really, really going to do this? Or am I going to sit it back down and always wonder what could have been? Why? Because diligence is important, and wisdom is vitally important, and people are important for inventors and entrepreneurs. Thank you very much.
Well, welcome everyone, and thank you, Don, for your very insightful presentation. He's great at jump-starting the background that's very insightful for all inventors and entrepreneurs. So we're so glad that he opened up our program this evening. I am the intellectual property librarian. My name again is John Schlipp, and I'm located over at Steele Library in Highland Heights at NKU. And we represent the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. We have a Patent Trademark Resource Center at Steele Library, and we're one of, there's about 85 patent trademark resource centers now in the United States, and we're the only one that represents the entire state of Kentucky. And we work with people from Lexington and Louisville and Williamstown and all over the state, folks over in the eastern part of Kentucky, the western part of Kentucky, and Metro Cincinnati as well. So that's what we're there to help you with. And you might say, well, what do you help folks with? Well, we help them with patents and trademarks, copyright, and other types of intellectual properties. And in particular, what we can help you with, we can teach you how to do your own preliminary patent or trademark search. So if you have an invention and you'd like to see if it's been patented before, we can teach you how to do your own free patent search utilizing resources of the Patent and Trademark Office, as well as other free databases that are available. Google Patents, the European Patent Office site, and so forth. But the USPTO site, as well as the European Patent Office site, are the best ones to use, and we can teach you how to use those. We can also help businesses and entrepreneurs that have a need for a trademark, a federal trademark registration. We can teach you how to go through that process. We can show you how to do a trademark search on the TESS database, TESS, which stands for Trademark Electronic Search System, on the USPTO website, which is uspto.gov. So we can have a one-on-one session with you if you have a group of people that would like to learn about this, and we also have programs like this from time to time to assist you with any of your patent and trademark needs. We also help all types of creative individuals with copyright questions and fair use questions and things of that nature. So anything in that realm of intellectual property, we can assist you. Our friends over at Chase Law School, they like to say that we provide intellectual property triage. I think that's a good way of describing it. So the one thing I would like to leave with you this evening before we have our breakouts later, this is a handout, and by the way, it's just a copy of just a couple pages from one of the NOLO publications. I'm certain you've seen the NOLO self-help books, like the NOLO self-help book for wills, writing your own will, or that they have a wonderful series of intellectual property books for patents, trademarks, and copyrights. And this particular resource, which is known as the Copyright and Trademark Handbook that they have, this is a great page to look at if you would want to determine what type of intellectual property might apply for your product, your invention, your creative writing, or whatever you might have. There's a whole list of all these different types of resources and what type of intellectual property might apply. So I figured that'd be a nice little handout to leave with you this evening to kind of determine what that's all about, because so many people get patents and trademarks mixed up. I can't tell you how often someone will say, well, I'd like to get a patent for my music sound recording, or I need to get a copyright for my invention, or whatever the case might be. And so people get confused about what those things are. So I'll just quickly describe what those three things are. There's three types of intellectual properties to remember this evening. A patent is for an inventor. Patents are for an invention, inventions. And patents are granted by a government agency to the inventor or the party that might be responsible for that patent. Sometimes patents are assigned to a business or work for hire in some cases. So patents are for inventions, and we can help you with patent searching. Trademarks are for logos and brands, as with branding. Trademarks are actually source identifiers for goods and services that are registered with either the state or the federal government. We can review those things with you. And the other thing, of course, is a copyright. And a copyright is for any type of expression of creative work from books, music, movies, and so forth. And also licensing is another thing to think about when you're dealing with any of these areas. And we can kind of give you the basis just to get started on any of those types of intellectual property if you ever need help in those areas. Because once again, we are an official patent trademark resource center for the USPTO. So if you ever need help, the easiest way to remember to find me is ipac.group. It's my own website that I have, so if you ever need help, you can contact me that way at ipac.group, or you can look us up on our Steele Library site at Northern Kentucky University. And I'm looking forward to speaking to many of you this evening if you got any more questions. So thank you again.
Hello, I'm Chad Smith with Kentucky Department of Agriculture. I'm Division Director in the Office of Agricultural Marketing, which oversees the Kentucky Proud Program. Unlike the other gentlemen that have spoke this evening, we're going to go very grassroots, and probably many of you are asking why Department of Agriculture, why Kentucky Proud, what's that have to do with starting a business? Well, Kentucky Proud is actually a brand that has been in development for about 20 years. When the Commonwealth of Kentucky got the tobacco settlement funds, it was determined that half of those monies were going to be put back into agriculture to help farms and families get away from their tobacco dependence. Other portions of that have gone on through healthcare. But as we've developed the brand, Kentucky statute defines membership, it defines the program, and it defines what is eligible. Within membership, we are catering to 77,000 independent businesses in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, if you consider that there are about 77,000 farms within the state. From that, we're not just talking proteins and produce, we're talking value-added products as well. Talking with Ms. Hensley, with her alpaca, not only does she raise alpaca, but then she has the output of the fiber. So those value-added products, fuels, fiber, food, soaps, lotions, health and beauty products, it's endless as to what we represent within Kentucky Proud. As you can see today, we've got 10,650 members. Our social media following is up to 120,000 over our different formats. And then some of the outlets that we are able to develop with our Kentucky Proud members are shown here. The resources that are available and the benefits are available. We have market specialists, whether it be livestock, direct farm marketing, organics, hemp, ginseng, on and on. We work with our senior trade advisor for import-export opportunities. We have other specialists working on marketing. Some of the programs that are available to Kentucky Proud members are POP promotional grants, which would be a cost share grant for advertising and marketing expenses based upon your direct farm impact or the value of your agricultural product. We have other products related to food service program called Buy Local. So many of you may have your favorite restaurant within the area. If they are participating in that, they have an opportunity if they are promoting and purchasing local produce, proteins, and again, other value-added products, salsa, sauces. They're eligible for a reimbursement on those expenses back. So that's something we take care of. Not only is it good for business, it's good for the community. This particular project with Kroger and Feeding Kentucky has taken 3 cheese artisans within the Commonwealth. Wildcat Mountain, I believe it's Edmore, and then the third is Kenny's Cheese. Half the proceeds, or a portion of the proceeds of those purchases, which are in 10 Kroger stores now throughout the state, go towards Feeding Kentucky and helping underprivileged. So those are just some of the things that were available to members. We talked about the POP point of purchase grant, branding and advertising. Many of our funds that are awarded to us through the Ag Development Board go towards branding and advertising. So we'll do various campaigns throughout the year, whether it be a farmer's market campaign, holiday campaign, and other summer feeding campaigns. Aside from that, you'll find on our landing pages various resources. If you're looking for cheese, you're looking for produce, you're looking for meats, you're looking for fiber, you're looking for dairy products, those are going to be available to you as well. And then we touched on the Buy Local program as well. And again, I just want to point out the benefits that are available. You know, farming is a unique independent business. There are opportunities for value added, and if there's more that I can tell you about or answer any questions, I believe we'll be downstairs in the breakout sessions. Thanks.
Well, I'm Jamie Baker, and I am the Executive Director of the Grant County Chamber of Commerce, Economic Development, and Tourism Office. I am Grant County's biggest cheerleader. That's my job. So economic development started about 25 years ago in Grant County when a group of gentlemen approached the fiscal court and said, we need a unified effort to attract industrial prospects and businesses to Grant County. Some of the accomplishments that the IDA has had in those 25 years that people may have forgotten about, they had the vision to purchase the property in Crittenden for the Crittenden Industrial Park, which has Dynavite, it has Wolf Steel, it has Duke Energy facilities down there, East Kentucky Power. That was very much foresight that helped Crittenden build the city coffers that it did because of having that industrial park in Crittenden. They also helped lure Dana to Grant County, which is one of our largest employers outside of the Grant County and Williamstown school systems. They also, we worked on MGP products, and people say, well, what's that? Well, MGP Products purchased the old Performance Pipe building in town, and for the locals, everybody knows what that is. And MGP Products is out of Atchison, Kansas, but they have a facility, a distillery in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. And they wanted to have a Kentucky presence. The Ark Encounter opened in July of 2016 in Grant County, and it has forever changed the face of Grant County. 6 years ago, all these offices came under one roof, and that's when I came on board. And I think that the importance of having all these things under one roof is you have one voice and you have a consistent message. I know Grant County people. Grant County people are hardworking, they're dedicated, they love their families, and they do love their community. 20 years ago, I don't think any of us could imagine what Grant County would look like today. And I can't imagine really what it's going to look like in 20 years. But what I will tell you is that I think there's opportunity. We have location in Grant County. And those are things that we can capitalize on for businesses. But I will say that we have to think about how we do business moving forward. We're going to do a Market on Main series, which is bringing free concerts to Grant County, which is hopefully going to drive business. We have a Heritage Trail project, a 20-year project that will connect a multi-use trail from Crittenden to Corinth that will be phenomenal. We got a $1.5 million federal grant to work on that project. It's going to take a lot more, but we got to start. We've got more work to do by working on our downtowns. And we've got a great opportunity coming our way from the ARC from August 2nd through September 10th with what's called the 40 Days and 40 Nights concert series. We're here to help you be successful and to move this community forward in a positive way. So thank you very much.
Jamie. Thank you very much.
Entrepreneurs, innovators, investors. Do we have any? Entrepreneurs, innovators, investors. All right, I just want to make sure I was in the right place. I'm Marilyn LaBorba. I'm with the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development in the KY Innovation Office. I'm really pleased to be here tonight. What a powerhouse we have. Sherry, this is just incredible. I was going to say, chatter from the back of the room. The Cabinet for Economic Development is the primary state agency in Kentucky responsible for encouraging job creation and retention and new investment in the state. So we're the jobs and investment folks. You always hear those two words in economic development. But the Cabinet for Economic Development, we don't create the jobs, you create the jobs. The mission of the Cabinet is to make sure you have all the information, resources, programs, and connections that you need to start your business, to diversify your business, to grow your business, and to be wildly successful in the state of Kentucky. In KY Innovation, which is the area that I work in the Cabinet for Economic Development, we have always been focused on smaller businesses, including retail and service businesses, and then also that segment of high growth, knowledge-based and technology businesses. So we want to make sure that those businesses don't get lost in the mix with the larger and more typical economic development projects. Through what we do, there's just a handful of us in KY Innovation too. Okay, and so we make a lot of connections. The people that you've seen here tonight, when people contact us, this is what we need to know, is how to connect you with those resources, programs, and information that you need. But in KY Innovation, we do have specific programs that I wanted to mention that come through our office and that might be of benefit to your small business. And one is the Kentucky Small Business Tax Credit Program. If you're a small business with 50 or fewer full-time employees and you create at least one new full-time job and invest at least $5,000 in your small business in qualifying equipment or technology, you might qualify for a $3,500 tax credit. So come see me about that. The Kentucky Small Business Credit Initiative Program. This is a program there where we work with the lenders, the participating lenders. If you're a small business and you're needing to get a loan and you're working with one of these lenders and they like you and they like your project but you're short on collateral, then they can come to us and say, okay, there's not enough collateral. We can look at that project and possibly put a cash deposit with the lender to bring up your collateral percentage so that they can make that loan to you. That's called the Kentucky Small Business Credit Initiative Program. Come see me about that. Export assistance. If you want to sell your goods and products out of the United States to an international market, you may already be doing that, or maybe you just want to get into it, or maybe you just want to learn about it. There is an Sba Grant Program, the STEP grant, that comes through our office, the Cabinet for Economic Development, where you could get up to $10,000 in reimbursable expenses for those export activities. So come see me about that. SBIRS TTR funding. If you have new inventions or new technology that you're participating in the federal SBIRS TTR program, Kentucky has a matching program on that. So come see me about that. Kentucky Selling Farmer Tax Credit. Okay, we got something for everybody, okay? This is kind of different, but it's in our cabinet, and so we're glad to talk to folks about it. Kentucky, of course, is a very big agricultural state. And this particular tax credit is if there's a farmer that's selling the farmland to a beginning farmer, and that farmer is going to keep it in production as a farm, there may be an attractive tax credit for the selling farmer. So come see me about that. Angel investment tax credit. This goes to the whole other end, rather than the farms, but for those high growth businesses that need a lot of cash, and those high net worth individuals want to make investments hoping they'll get a good return on their money. There's an attractive tax credit program for the investors for those qualified projects. So come see me about that. And then finally, we have hub offices across the state, so that it's not just me in Frankfurt and my coworkers trying to reach all of you. We actually have these contract offices all across the state to make sure that this information is getting out. And they're very localized also, so that they're working towards the needs of their communities, and it's not just a one-size-fits-all. So I'm Marilyn LaBarba. I'm with the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development. I'm downstairs in room 115. I'm at the table. It's got a white banner on it. It says Team Kentucky. Come see me.
Thank you, Mary.
My name is Pat Goodman. I'm the Grant County Public Library Director. So one thing that we also offer are our services. And one of our services is our databases. But what the Reference Solutions has is an entire database. And when I say a database, this thing is amazing. The amount of work that people must put into this, the times that goes into it, the amount of upgrades that they do. This stuff is every single company currently in the United States. You can look up by name, you can look up by keyword, and then once you get into that, you can look into regions, you can look at specifically into states, into counties. You can do this thing that they call a hot map, where it shows first the initial growth of a company. Come to the library. We are very friendly people. We are there to help the community. That is the library's primary goal. We are connecting community to their information needs. And there are a lot of information needs for business people, and we're really hoping to be a part of this community and grow. And when people make it, we really hope that they can remember that we were a small part of them making it too. So thank you very much, everybody. And
my name is Paul Croshore. I'm an attorney for just a hair under 30 years. I cover from Michigan down to Tennessee, doing civil and criminal litigation, but largely business litigation. So Pat said he had you imagine that what you saw was information. I would like to continue that imagination, and I'll have you imagine your success 10 years from now as you built a company. You're selling whatever you make hand over fist. You are amazingly successful, and then the reality hits you, and your business gets padlocked. You are evicted from your business premises. You are out of business, and you don't even know why. And the reason why this happens to my clients, the reason that they become my clients regularly, the reason is because they think that only lawyers know how to read contracts. And the reality is, outside of insurance contracts, which are a whole other world, every contract that you are asked to sign is readable by you. And apologies to Don, it's not about getting the people on your team, because if you take the contract to a lawyer and you say, what does this say? The lawyer who will have to spend far more time asking you about what you do in order to know what this contract means. Some law professors took a sample credit card contract to 668 students and said, read this. This is the new credit card contract. You're getting this new card. They spent an average of 4 minutes, an average, and this is, they knew they were being tested. They were being timed on how much time they spent reading this contract. They spent 4 minutes reading the contract. They didn't know there was arbitration clauses. They didn't know, not in this one, but in other cases, that there's a confession of judgment, which is the thing that gets your business padlocked and all of your stuff gone if you screw it up. They just didn't know because they didn't read the thing. Even though it's written in English and it's designed to be written in English, you don't have to know all of the ins and outs to understand what the contract says. Now, there is stuff that helps you. The Kentucky Uniform Commercial Code has gap fillers. If your contract has the key things that it needs, then it can sort of fill in all the gaps. Your contract doesn't have a price. Well, UCC can fill in price. It doesn't. As long as you have a quantity and a time, pretty much everything else you can, a judge can, a lawyer can figure out what the answer is. But why do you need that if you would just read the contract in the first place? Yes, it's not pleasant. I think the iTunes contract, if you print it out, is 32 feet of verbiage. It's not pleasant, but if you care about not losing your house and your car and your business and your everything and going bankrupt, all you really have to do is read the contract. And then if you have a question, you can call lawyers and say, you know, what does this mean? But I litigate regularly contracts where they're impenetrable because the people didn't know what they were doing, and the person who signed making themselves liable on the contract didn't ask the question that they would have asked if they had read it. They would say, well, what am I buying? What am I selling you? You just, in simple English, if it's in there, and it doesn't even have to be a piece of paper. It can be an email. It can be written on a chalkboard and a picture taken of it. The requirements are very simple. It's when people don't know what they're signing that there's a problem, and that's my cautionary tale. And therefore, having imagined bankruptcy and destruction, on that cheery note, I'll invite you to chat with me about contracts or anything else. Licensing in the same way. Licensing is done by contract. You can read it and it'll make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, you can ask questions, thereby binding the person who asks you to sign the contract to those answers. Failing to ask those questions leaves you open to disaster. So there's my thought experiment for the day. I think we have another keynote speaker who's coming, and yes, I'll leave you on that cheery note.
So I am Nick Brophy. I'm the newest director, if you will, of the Kentucky Small Business Development Center. And most people, I think in some capacity or another, know that we exist, but don't exactly know how we exist or what we can help do for our local entrepreneurs. But before we get into that, and some interesting numbers that I think can be fascinating, I'm just going to share a quick minute about myself, where I came from, you know, what I'm about and what I care about. Just as I've been listening to all of you talk, it's reminded me of so many things about, you know, why it is I love what I do. So I am a traditional Northern Kentucky native, from Fort Wright in particular, and I am also an NKU grad, so the Norse. So it's an honor for me to be standing here on behalf of NKU as well. But I'm also a 21-year military veteran, so I see a couple veteran pins out there, my brothers and sisters. But I've been lucky enough to work in the community in multiple capacities that have been giving back for many years. So lots of economic development, lots of workforce initiatives across the years, and of course my experience in the military has given me a new appreciation, or even a renewed appreciation for serving the community in some capacity or another. I'm also somewhat of an interested entrepreneur myself, where I'm always finding ideas, which I'll be bringing to Don after this, and always looking for opportunities. Maybe not necessarily for myself, but just in general, just always curious about learning about business, about succeeding in that capacity. So, I mean, that's a little bit about myself, and I find it so fascinating to work with entrepreneurs, especially when I think about Susie, who is up here. And I could tell, and you probably could too, that she was getting a little bit emotional about the experience that she had. And I think at the end of the day, that's what drives me forward to work with clients on behalf of the SBDC. So what is the SBDC? We are ultimately part of the Kentucky SBDC network, which is a statewide network. So we do have offices all across the state. I think we are up to 17 centers now. 2020, because of COVID, was an interesting year where the state added capacity, which I think was definitely the right move. And we've been in existence for over 40 years now as a network at NKU in particular for almost, I think it's a little over 30 years now. So a very long tenure there. And, sorry, my phone keeps canceling out. But the important thing is that we operate with federal grant money, ultimately from the SBA, and it gets passed down in one way or another. I won't bore you with the exact details, but it does come down to us. NKU is gracious enough to match some of those grant funds so that we can provide a team to help our local entrepreneurs. Primarily, we do serve Boone, Kenton, Campbell, Grant, Gallatin, and Pendleton County. So that's typically our service area, but because we're so close to the metro, we do get some customers and clients that are on that side of the river who, you know, who have businesses in Kentucky or vice versa, or live in Kentucky and have businesses in Ohio. So we do a little bit of diversity in that regard. But what we're really doing is working at no cost to our clients. So it doesn't matter necessarily what it is, and for me, that's kind of the joy in it. It could be startup, it could be buying a business, it could be franchising, which I was talking with before the event started today. It could be planning, marketing, grant writing even on some capacities, although I think I would come to Valerie if that were the case. But you know, it really could be anything in the life cycle of your business. So whatever stage you're in, if it's ideology, if you're in the middle, if you're an existing business and you're looking to expand, if you're looking for financing, you just want to bounce a couple of ideas off of us. I mean, that's really what we're doing with our clients. How we get connected is, or how you get connected to us rather, it has been a personal mission of mine to make sure that it's as easy as possible. So I literally have leveraged every free option that I can, social media, including Facebook, Instagram, Google, LinkedIn. We even have a generic website that Google My Business has. I mean, we're just out there just to see. You can Google my name and you're going to find one of those reference materials to get in contact with us. 2020 was an interesting year, to say the least. So our offices have been closed, which are right now currently on the campus of NKU inside the College of Business, on the 3rd floor. And then we also, most recently, per really what Valerie was talking about, was access to us through a new center or a new location down at the Collaborative in Covington on Pike Street, in downtown Covington. And then, of course, we can always come to the Grant County campus as well, and we'd be honored to do so. So trying to get a hold of us has been virtual over the last year. And we're going to still continue that in some capacity or another, but we are certainly excited to see your smiling faces. I think I speak for the group when I say that. So come and see us anytime. And again, you can find us you can look for NKU Small Business Development Center, all spelled out, and you'll find any one of those platforms. I want to share with you, though, a couple of interesting numbers that we've had with our clients. And truthfully, we don't get to touch as many clients as possible. Maybe they don't know where we are, or we, frankly, just have a small team. But right now, it's just myself. So this is information from 2018 through 2020, which I'll speak about the year 2020 because it was a pretty fascinating year. But from a client served perspective, we served over 4,500, almost 4,600 clients. 472 new businesses started, which I think, you know, provided we had more people to help, would have been double. 9,200, over 9,200 jobs supported. There goes our economic development. And then as far as capital and loans and equity, and that can be in different forms, infused into the economy is $166 million, which I think is really, really just mind-blowing because a lot of the clients we see are startups that come to us with that brand new idea, not really sure what to do. So to help them in any way, I don't care if it's $100 or $1 million, is just as special no matter what. As far as 2020 goes, you would think that would have been the slowest year. But really, it was a fascinating year for that because just like Susie's story, is just like probably 60% of the clients that I talked to today, where they say maybe they were unfortunately laid off or let go, or the company closed during this time period. Or they just got sick of work conditions and decided to start something. But we had seen just a huge increase of startup businesses. Not necessarily expansions, but although I will admit that we're seeing a ton of them now. So it almost doesn't make sense. but it's very encouraging to know that people are stepping outside their comfort zone. And I think that's a very important piece of it. And I think that's a very important part of our journey with our clients is how do we connect? How do we make them, how do we help them vet the situation, vet their idea, vet their growth opportunity, and make sure it makes sense? So it's really an emotional journey that we take with them, and that is so very important. And again, Susie talking about that up here really, it brings that to reality for me. There are some other things that we do. We also do training events. So, in fact, Wednesday, tomorrow at noon, we have a Google presentation. So I'm a partner with Google, what's called Grow with Google. So we do training events with Google. All free tools. I like to be startup friendly, and I like to promote startup friendly and connect you with things that are low cost or no cost that can help you grow or get noticed or attract more customers. And of course, we're parts of organizations and communities and collaborators like this, so we can help kind of quarterback resources depending on what you need. So we'll kind of quarterback that for you and tell us what you need, and we'll hopefully connect you with the right players. It is worth mentioning that we also have another center in the Covington office. So from part of the SBDC network, we do have another local center. So there is one in Covington as well. And we are a collaboration with them, and Lisa Brand is the director there. So if that's something that works, we can always get connected there too. But otherwise, in the essence of time, because I know we want to get to the breakout sessions, I really just want to thank you for being here. If you have any questions about what the SBDC does, it's really anything and everything. We quarterback it, so please come talk to me or Google me, and we'll get connected. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you.